Emil has called me fat during pregnancy multiple times. I'm 5'7", and pre-pregnancy weight was around 145 lbs. Not skinny, but not overweight. I have some curves. Totally average, if not below, and I'm lucky. This is my second pregnancy, and both times now I carry all in the belly. The rest of me looks like it always did. Getting a little puffed in the face now, as I'm 35 weeks and have gained about 20 kilograms total to this point. I say all that because this is not a case of me being overweight and delusional, and she is trying to be helpful for the sake of my health or something. Everyone else has nice things to say, and even if they didn't, they would never say anything at all because normal people aren't completely unhinged assholes. But most of all, who comments on a pregnant woman's weight in the first place, good or bad? Don't talk about it. We know our bodies are changing. We live with it every day. She said she's joking. In what universe is that a joke? I'm so hormonal and can't sleep and can't stand anyone already. So I am actively avoiding her as not burn a bridge, and she wonders why she doesn't see us anymore. I can't cut her out. There are already so many other issues in the family, and she has not had it easy in life. I try to give her some grace, but can't deal with her right now as it's costing my mental health. What would you do?
Well, you guys were right. The Roomba saga continues. I posted a while ago about my MIL acting like a toddler when we gave her a Roomba for Christmas. She didn't want it, so we returned it. Yesterday, she agreed to family therapy, and everyone said it wouldn't work. I talked to a therapist, and they agreed. The therapist told me she needs to seek therapy on her own. Well, today she told me she's been seeing a therapist, per our stipulation, to see our daughter again. I wish I could attach a screenshot of the text she sent me about how therapy is going and how badly the conversation has evolved. So instead, I will give some of the notable quotes. Buckle up. I won't put myself into positions where I feel hurt. You hurt my feelings when you took my Christmas gift away. We didn't take it. She opened it halfway and complained that she bought one 7 years ago, and we should have known that, then proceeded to leave the gift at our house when she left. You stole from me taking the gift back. Okay, you don't even care about my feelings. Right, that's why your son was so excited to give you this gift, just to feel crushed when you shit all over it. You can say those things to me, but I don't have to believe it. I told her how hurt her son was when she rejected his gift. This was the response to that. People are surprised I can be so kind-hearted after all the trauma I've been through. I can never go to your mom's house and see her Roomba. It's just a constant reminder of how I am treated differently. In regards to the fact the mom's got the same gift, but one left it behind. Her birthday party not wanting me there is something I'll never get over. He was more worried about angry with me and trying to hurt me. Nope. You said some horrible things, so we couldn't trust you to be around our daughter. You either gift a gift or don't. And when I said I had one but would have wanted the Ryobi stick vacuum instead, how difficult was that? She actually asked for cash instead of asking for a different gift. But still, who does that? I don't know how you could ever make up the birthday party to me. I have 23 and growing unread messages, so I'm sure there are more gems in there. Moral of the story, no amount of therapy or work will get her to a place where I feel it is safe for my daughter to be around her. Story time about my victory rant. We get so few wins that I thought you might enjoy this one. It is a bit long, and I hope you enjoy my drama. My boyfriend 31 woman and I, to 29 of, have been together for about 2 years. We have struggled dealing with my mother-in-law 73 about him. She definitely acted like he owed her all his free time. Due to his job, he is mainly home weekends. When we started dating, I struggled to even get some of his time, as his mom would get upset he started spending less time with her, but eventually for a good while, it was 50-50, she would get one day, I would get one day. However, as our relationship progressed, it became more inconvenient since we moved in together. We wanted to do more things together and just do what partners do and spend the weekend doing what they want. But anytime he would try to tell her he couldn't come over that weekend, she would guilt trip him and throw a tantrum, and he would usually go, unless we had an actual event to go to. That was the only reason he would put his foot down. I honestly thought this was going to be permanent, where he never stood up to her or put me first. Around the holidays, though, I felt she took it too far. He and I had spoken about how we would spend one day with my mom, and one day with his mom for Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. But no, she wanted to have him to herself for one of the holidays, so I did not get to see him Christmas Day, seeing as how we live a short 10-minute drive from his mom, my mom, and our place. It's not like we couldn't have spent both holidays together. This caused me to finally decide to put my foot down. I explained to him that I felt we should be able to spend holidays together and not have to separate just because his mom wants to be alone with him on holidays. He agreed and stated he also thought she was wrong for it, but didn't say anything since he didn't think I cared. But now, knowing that I did care, he promised that going forward, he would make sure she knew we would not be separating for holidays. He also expressed he was also starting to get tired of how she wasn't letting him have his own life. At this point, I was frustrated with everything that had happened until then, and I told him I thought it was time he chose who he wanted to make happy and who was his priority, as it was clear at this point she wanted him to choose her. Mel cut my baby's hair and lied. My Mel watched my 18-mo baby over the weekend, and when we got home, my husband and I both, independently before talking together, suspected his hair had been cut. I couldn't put my finger on it, and comparing pictures doesn't help because the haircut was very subtle, but the overall effect was the hair looked thinner and tighter to his head, especially along the hairline. My husband asked her, and she quickly said no she didn't and left the room. Background. My husband's parents have been insulting and boundary pushing for all 6 hours of our marriage. Things came to a head about 6 months ago when we tried to set a boundary and they lost their shit, and we all ended up arguing and hashing out years worth of, until then, unaddressed insults. During that phone call, his mother called me a liar more than once. I wasn't lying about anything. Before that fight, they were coming over almost monthly to spend time with our baby. Since then, they have come twice. Letting them watch our baby was an olive branch, and this is what Mill did with it. I noticed the haircut, my husband noticed the haircut, and our friend who came over our first night back from our trip commented on the haircut. We took my son to 2 different hairdressers who both said with certainty his hair has been cut recently. His last haircut was 2.5 months ago. Another element of all this is that the last time they were with my baby and away from me, husband was on that trip with them without me, and obviously had moments away from the baby since he showers and goes to the bathroom, etc., was 9 months ago, and we also thought the baby's hair looked shorter after that trip to my in-laws. Now I'm sure my MIL must have cut it then too, and that would have been his first haircut. I wonder what she thought when she saw the lock of hair in the my first haircut keepsake on the fridge when she came to our house after, knowing she had cut his hair before that date. Obviously, she didn't think much since she cut it again after that. This just feels like such a slap in the face. My husband asked her, she said no. A few days later, he called his dad to say it happened, and his dad said they would never do that after the summer we've had. I believe my Phil doesn't know she did it. After the second hairdresser confirmed it tonight, my husband texted his dad to say our son's hairdresser showed us how she knew it was cut. He said, let me ask mom if she did it. She didn't cut it. My husband is just not going to answer that text. We're not asking them, and we don't need them to agree. It just makes me so angry because his mom claims she walks on eggshells around me, and it's not fair. This is an interesting feat for someone to pull off while balancing on eggshells. Really, really sick of these people and the strain they put on my marriage. Am I being silly for cutting ties with my mother-in-law and banning her from our home? Let me set the scene. I'm a 25-year-old Chilean who met her 26-year-old Swedish husband while he was holidaying in Chile. Talk about love at first sight. Fast forward a year, and we're living together in my Chilean apartment, dreaming of life in Sweden. Lucky for us, my boyfriend owned a cute little cottage in the countryside. When I moved to Sweden, I discovered I was pregnant. Cue the happy dance. Now, I hadn't met my in-laws before, but they greeted us at the cottage with open arms. It was all warm welcomes and good vibes. But then enter my mother-in-law. She started visiting a lot, which was cool at first, because she brought loads of pregnancy goodies. Organic this, pregnancy books, that you name it, she brought it. It was sweet, but things took a turn. One day, I came home from shopping to find my living room had turned into a garden party. Outdoor furniture was everywhere and my blankets had disappeared. Confused, I asked what was up, and she casually mentioned the coffee table needing a makeover. What? As time went on, she got even more involved. I'm talking lectures on soap choices, vitamin shaming, and even tree hugging to stop us from cutting one down. Plus, she had something to say about everything, from our fishing habits to the shampoo I used. Fast forward to baby time, we were thrilled. But when we got home from the hospital, guess who was there? Yep, my mother-in-law, ready to micromanage baby duty. She even pushed me out of the way during a diaper change, saying I sucked at it. Rude, right? After this incident, she apologized, but nothing really changed. 2 years passed and we were expecting our second kid. We were again so happy for the news. One day she came home with clothes for my daughter and the new baby to come. It was tons of beautiful clothing, and right after finishing looking at everything she brought to us, she stopped and said, "Well, happy you like it. Here is the receipt. It's 2,500 kroner. You can pay me back until tomorrow, so no rush." I was done. I asked her why she thought she could go shopping for us without asking if we needed it, and then come with the bill. I promise I did not scream, even though I wanted to, but she just said that she wanted to help. She told me she needed to go and left. My husband was outside, and through the window, I saw she stopped to talk to him. After some minutes, she left. My husband came in, and he asked me why I screamed at his mother for doing something I asked her to do. Yes, she told him that I asked her to buy clothes the kids, and she asked him to transfer her the money because she doesn't want to upset me, and that she understands how hormonal pregnancy can make a woman. I was furious. I told my husband that she was lying, that I never asked her for that, and he believed me and called her to ask her to stop with her manipulation tactics. After that, things got a bit awkward between my husband and me, all thanks to my meddling Mill and her antics. One day we were in the middle of an argument when she barged into the house. We didn't even realize she had arrived. It wasn't a full-blown shouting match or anything, just a normal disagreement about his mom. But she jumped right in, shouting at me to calm down, while she was the one yelling. I was taken aback and worried that my daughter would hear the commotion and get scared. So I decided to take a breather and went for a walk, leaving my husband to deal with her and figure out why she was acting the way she was. After my walk, I was done. I loved my then boyfriend, but it was very hard to have a relationship with him and his mother at the same time. So I got home and I told him that I can't do this any longer and that I want to go back home because I was getting sick from all the stress I was going through. We were feeling down, so we shared a comforting hug. Right in the midst of it, my MIL called to check on our daughter after the intense argument we had. The nerve. And when my husband mentioned I was leaving, she totally misunderstood. She thought I was abandoning ship without our daughter. Talk about wild assumptions. But when my husband clarified that he had tickets for both of us, she completely lost it. She started screaming and threatened to call social services, accusing us of subjecting our daughter to a traumatic experience. I was empty, exhausted. I asked my then boyfriend and father of my baby girl to give me some space for a couple of hours that I needed to be alone to rest. He accepted and went to buy some food for us. But just 5 minutes later, like a relentless force of nature, my MIL showed up at our doorstep again. I tried to explain that her son wasn't home and that I needed some alone time, but she barged in anyway. She insisted that I shouldn't leave, shifting the blame onto her son, and even going as far as accusing him of hating women. After this, I decided not to leave. I love my husband, and I can't leave him alone with that woman. So I am willing to give a fight for him and our family. After all the chaos, a few months rolled by, and Mile kept up her twisted antics but with a dash of new tricks. Her go-to move? Sneakily chatting with me, then spinning tales to my husband, all taken out of context. She was a master at flipping conversations, making me out to be the villain while she played the helpless victim, not just to my husband, but to the whole family. But this time, I wasn't about to let her get away with it. I decided to play detective and started recording all our calls and texts. In person, I avoided her, and when she dropped by, I made excuses for being busy. My husband acted as my wingman, making sure she didn't set foot inside when he was out, and I was home alone with the kiddos. Our baby had arrived by then. Our communication was strictly limited to phone and text. I was gathering evidence, after all. Then one fateful day, she showed up while I had a friend over. My friend suggested taking the kids to the pool and innocently asked, "Hey, want to join us at the pool tomorrow?" But before I could respond, MIL barged in like a bull in a china shop saying, "Nope, too much chlorine in pools, the kids are staying put." My friend was taken aback, and I was fed up. I laid down the law, reminding MIL that she wasn't the boss and that this conversation was for my friend's ears only. I swiftly assured my friend that we'd love to tag along, and with that, MIL stormed out in a huff. Later, when she ran into my husband outside our door, he was letting the dog out. She pulled her classic move, a mix of shouting and fake tears, claiming, "Your wife told me to leave." His response was golden. "All righty then, off you go," before closing the door firmly. That night she called me, daring to ask why I'd been so rude when all she'd ever done was help me. The audacity, right? I'd had it up to here with her nonsense and let her have it, cutting ties with her then and there. She slammed the phone down, but not before belting out those infamous words, "I hate you." She is a 59-year-old toddler. I was using the speaker for husband to hear MIL, BTW. My husband was aware of all the evidence I gathered. He was fine with it and kept the secret. After 10 minutes, she decided to call my husband, crying like Rose in the Titanic movie. After all the drama, my husband gave her the Oscar prize, telling her, "I know you are lying. I heard the whole conversation. I was right next to her." Then she started screaming at him, "I hate her!" and hung up. After this, I cut all contact with her. I told my husband that I had no problems with him maintaining contact with his mother, but not in our home. I also informed him that she could continue to see the kids, but only under his supervision, and they should never be left alone with her. However, after some time, my husband encountered too many issues with her, prompting him to also cut contact with his mother. Now, our entire family has zero contact with her. She began spreading rumors in our social circle, portraying me as a monster who wanted to keep my husband away from his family. By the way, my father-in-law and she are divorced, and we have a wonderful relationship with him and his new wife. Before she could continue spreading falsehoods, my husband informed her that we were sharing our phone conversations with certain family members and friends who were questioning her fabricated stories. This prompted her to stop speaking altogether. My husband is doing well. He loves his mom, but understands that cutting contact is necessary for peace and to prevent our kids from experiencing the toxic behavior he endured as a child. We sought couple therapy, and everything is going wonderfully. Finally, I am a happy woman, mother, and wife. Big thanks for all the support. I needed to share this and get it out of my system. Send you all love.